plants. The green frontier. These are the discussions of the podcast Horticult. Its continuing mission: to talk about strange new cultivars, to seek out new flowers and plant them, to boldly garden like no one has before. Alright, so this is Blaine for the Horticult. Thanks for listening, everybody. Today's episode, we're getting into tree identification again. I love trees. I can't get away from trees. We did an episode not very long ago on conifer trees, so pines and spruces and firs, and how to tell the difference between them. And this one, I wanted to go over some deciduous trees, so leafy trees that drop their leaves. And so we just go over some common ones that we see here in Utah a lot, and how to identify them. So we go over, leaf shape and, what taxonomy, and now they're getting into DNA. We also talk a little bit about botanical names and how they describe the tree. So if you know your Latin, you'd be able to know what tree it is. We go over the compound leaf and how it differs, and how you can figure out those. The trees we kind of go over were maples, oaks, elms, ash, and we just kind of stay in those genuses, and we talk about what a genus is a little bit. By their seeds ye shall identify them. All right, we'll see you on the other side. Let's get it on.
Rock on Babylon, here we come.
I'm Blaine.
And I am Brad.
And we are the Horticult. Thank you for joining us. No, here we go. We are so excited to be back. And Brad has an update. If you guys listen to Rapid Decline, he had an issue with his wisteria. And now he has an update. Go, Brad.
Here we go. Okay, listen. So just as a quick recap, the wisteria was on its way out. Rapid decline. Okay. And it's been many, many weeks. And I am just going to say that the wisteria is still alive with a lot of input, and it's still alive, but it's only about 50% leafed out. Okay, so throughout the vine, which is 60, 70 feet long, there's been these sporadic branches just coming off, random branches throughout. Dead.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Lost its leaves. The cambium and everything has shrunk and shriveled and has gone black and necrotic. But, interestingly enough, there is still life to that vine. So, there's still hope, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's where we're at. I'll let you know in 2019 if it comes back from the winter.
Sweet.
So the vine will go dormant, right?
Yeah.
It'll lose all of its leaves. If I can get it to bud out and re-leaf next spring, we're golden, pony boy. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So today, it's crazy. My friend was showing me, he takes care of garden properties and whatnot. He's actually been on the show, and he was our sponsor for a little while, Freddie from Lawn Thumbs.
Oh, Freddie's on, yeah.
Yeah. So he showed me this picture, and it was a before and after of a blue spruce that had been overwatered. So it was like the whole thing was, it looked dead. Like I would have been like, pull it out, replace it, no hope. He called this dude who has these certain products that he uses, and he's like, what do you got? And he did this regimen, and part of it was like cold water kale. Like he like put a couple ounces of cold water kale in and did this other thing, boom, shake it, woo, and he was supposed to do a 2-week treatment. Hit it once, wait 2 weeks, hit it again. Well, he kind of missed that middle one. He comes back 4 weeks. He couldn't find the tree. It had dropped all of its needles and regrew every one of them.
No way.
It you wouldn't even know that anything was wrong with it. It looked perfect. It looked perfect.
Cold water kale.
Yeah.
Is that like some kind of
super rich nitrogen boost thing? You don't want to use too much of it. He uses it on his in his mix, his fertilizer mix for his lawns. So he's like, here, mix that in with that and apply it to around the base of the tree.
So I've heard of compost teas. Is that similar?
I don't know. I'm not sure. This is a new world for me.
Yeah.
Like all these different kind of fertilizer mixes and stuff. But whatever it did, it freaking bounced back, and it looked like it was amazing. But he just made sure it was green. You know, the guy came in there and checked it, and all the tips were dead. But he's like, the inners, the cambium layer is still good. So he's like, I know this one can come back.
Yeah.
And
you have to scratch the cambium.
That was amazing. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, no way.
Out, yeah.
Not possible.
Start again.
And so definitely things can come back. Like from the brink. Like this thing was like, no freaking way. It looked like it was like a Christmas tree, you know, that had been sitting out in the sun.
Dang.
It was like fried. And it came back.
Did they give him the old crisscross applesauce?
I would have. I'd have been like, peace out.
Yeah.
You know, get me a new one. But
Man.
they brought it back. I mean, it was young.
Yeah.
It was probably like maybe about a Christmas tree size.
Uh-huh,
so like
sure.
Maybe 3-4 inch caliper. You know, 6
You're
feet,
looking at
7
like
feet
a
tall.
3 or 4 year old.
Yeah. So not. I mean, it was a young one, but they brought it back. Like I've never ever seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So it can happen. Don't lose faith.
Yeah, hang in there, man. I'm talking to me.
Oh yeah, you.
Right. Thanks. Podlings.
Yeah, Podling. What's up? So today, I kind of wanted to just go on a topic. I was just thinking about a little bit of tree identification, like kind of breaking it down. We did one a while ago on, conifer trees, so pine, spruce, and fir, and how you tell the difference. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go check it out. This one I wanted to kind of go over more of like the common deciduous varieties that we have that you can kind of identify from the genus. Okay, we're not going to get super specific in species. So it's kind of just breaking them into the little compartments.
So just real quick though, I mean that's kind of like your plant taxonomy.
Right. Yeah.
But if some people are like, well, what the hell is a genus? You know.
Right. It's basically just like
between a family.
Yes. So like cherries would be fruit is a good way to explain it. So cherries is one. So any of the pitted ones would be in one family. Apples would be in another family of genus. Pears are in another family. That's how you can. But we're doing it without fruit. We're just doing non-fruiting trees that we use in our landscape.
Okay.
So, easy peasy.
Yeah.
We do use cherries, ornamental cherries that flower. And we do use pears that flower. I'm not aware of an apple kind of tree that we just use. Oh, I guess crab apples, if you consider crab apples, but they're kind of not really an apple.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if they're in the genus Malus. Okay, so how do you initially? What's one way to initially ID your common deciduous trees that you have in your yard?
Okay, so like the easiest way that I do it that you could tell, I mean, you look at the leaves, the leaf shape, and that can give away a lot. That is not necessarily what they use on taxonomy. Like the taxonomy, they usually go off of the flower shape and how the reproductive organs work for the tree, and that's how they kind of, at least that's how they did it in the old days before DNA testings and stuff. So that's kind of like the root of the genetic code. So by doing that, actually, roses are very similar to apples because their flower is very similar. So they're kind of in that very closely related to apple trees.
Yeah.
And if you look at like rose hips, they resemble apples on the end there. So that's, I mean, it's kind of, you know, so they're kind of, they go by the flowers. Genetically, I don't know. You'd have to go look at it genetically.
So they're in the same family, but they're not in the same genus.
Right.
That's kind of how that one works. Yeah.
The ones that I wanted to go over were common ones that I can just, you know, maples. You know, how do you tell a maple from a flowering pear? Or how do you tell a maple from a ash, like a green ash? Maples, the giveaway are their seeds. You know, they also have kind of a palmate, high-lobed. So palmate is like, you think of a hand. Okay, you open your hand, and the points would be the tips of the fingers, and the lobes would be in between the fingers. So that's a higher lobed kind of layout. If you really get into it, the botanical name describes the tree. It's not just like a made up, it's Latin words that are put together that describe a characteristic of that tree. So like one that I remember, it's a maple. The big tooth maple is Acer grandidentatum. So if you break that in, big tooth, Acer is maple. Okay, all maples begin with Acer, and that's kind of what we're kind of focusing on. But the rest of it, grandidentatum. So grand, dental, you know, dentatum.
So grand being big.
Big tooth.
Dentatum is
like dentist.
Big tooth. Yeah.
Cool. So that's kind of a way that, you know, Latin botanicals are broken into. So you're characterized as Acer, which is a maple, and then they're broken in. They describe something about the tree. But the identifying factor for maples is they all have that kind of a seed that kind of, you know, helicopters down or whatever. Yeah. Like when you're a kid and you throw it up and it helicopters down.
Yeah, when they're dry, that works much better.
Right. Which is cool. Like that, and all maples have that as a characteristic of a maple. So not all maples will have the palmate though. Like if you look at Acer nergundo, which is the box elder, which we have in Utah, it's a native. It doesn't have that palmate leaf. It does have kind of more of a compound leaf, like a 3-compounded leafy thing, but it has that kind of seed poddy.
Yeah, that's
so
Samara.
It's different.
It's a Samara, right? Samara.
Is the seed?
Yeah,
the seed thing? Yeah,
that's what it's called, I guess, technically. Samara.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like one of the major ones that we see a lot in Utah. It would be technically probably overplanted, the maples, but we've never had like a serious disease ruining maples in the United States, which it could happen because we overplant them. That's the danger of overplanting things, is a disease can come in, we get too monocultured in it, and there's not variety in the forest canopy, or not forest, the urban canopy, and a disease will just go from one tree to the other. And we're having that issue with Bradford pears, where a disease is going through them very easily. That is a fruiting disease that they have to deal with in orchards when they grow apples and whatever.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like the blight? Fire blight?
Oh, fire blight, yeah.
Anyway. So that's Acer. Another one that is easily identified that's very abundant in Utah are ash trees. The way that you could tell ash tree right off the bat is they have a compound leaf. So if you look, so what's a compound leaf? Okay, a leaf is where anything from the node up. So the node is where it attaches to the branch. There's a little and the leaf. And
it's the petiole, right?
The petiole.
Yeah.
Is that where the node is?
Yeah. So there's the node, then the petiole, then the actual like green chlorophyll stacked leaf is.
So a compound leaf will have what's called leaflets that go up the petiole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Petiole.
Yeah. Yes. Or and it could be called the peduncle.
Ooh.
In fruit. Peduncle and fruit, petiole and leaf. Yeah.